Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Let Me Talk to You. This is episode 20. Oh man, I gotta make sure we have this correctly spelled, because apparently it is misspelled. Why is that? I have no idea why, but I'll change it while we're on. But guys, welcome once again, another episode of Let Me Talk to You. My name is Frankie Fresco, and of course, my brother to the side of me, DiTrapio. What's up, brother? Welcome back, man.
Hello, sir. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for the nice, welcome. Just another day in paradise, sir. Another blessing.
Yeah, man, absolutely, bro. It's nice. Last week, I was riding solo. This week I am blessed to be with you again, sir. So, thank you again, brother, for coming this weekend and being with me. Last week it was a little bit hard. No, this week is a little bit better. So, but thank you, brother. So we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk a little bit about everything. We're gonna talk a little bit about some NXT as far as what happened last night. We're also gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Miami Heat. We'll talk about baseball. We got the Marlins. The Marlins are actually now making their way as well into their season, so it should be exciting to see what the Marlins come and actually do this year. And then at the end of the show, we'll cap it off and end it with, of course, the most important section of our show. I think, in my opinion, this week it is definitely the soccer portion of our podcast, because there was so much going on this last couple of days when it comes to soccer, and it's so good. Whoops, somebody just was calling me right now. My bad about that. So definitely that's gonna be probably the most exciting part of our soccer of our podcast today, is our soccer conversation, because we got so much to talk about. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit. What's up, Josh? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for coming in. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Oh, I hear in the background too. I like it. I got some
Yeah,
background.
the fam is right here right now. The fam is out here.
Oh, we got some fam as well. I love it. All right, so let's talk a little bit first and foremost with, of course, what happened last night at NXT. And of course, one of the things that happened in NXT was the fact that we had the main event of Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin going up against Tajawa and Otis. Otis.
Yo, that was a good match, bro.
It was, man. It was fun. It was entertaining. I thought they did a pretty good job. At the end of the day, though, Braun Breaker won. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin won. So, talk to me, Nick. Did you like the result? What did you?
Yeah, definitely.
You did. Why is that? What caught your attention more about them? Because I thought literally it was gonna be Otis and
Alpha
yeah,
Academy.
yeah. I thought they had a really good shot at winning this, and
Yeah,
I wanted them to win.
but like you said, man, this is a build up. You know who's gonna face them at the end of the day. So
Yeah. I mean, they're prepping it up eventually for Stand and Deliver. So it's something that they wanted to go ahead and kind of like kind of like push more than ever. I mean, again, it's not bad. I enjoyed the match. Nice to see. Of course, Corbin and Breaker do their thing.
Hmm.
AKA
That power bomb slash sphere finish, pretty legit.
yeah, man, and of course, the Wolf Dogs, which is their like I guess what like their nicknames, I guess what they have for them.
Yeah.
Um, they're getting ready. I think wasn't LWO there as well. I think LWO was like keeping tabs on them
So
and
the
stuff.
way everything ended was pretty much like a brawl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, it was LWO showed up, um, and the other tag teams came in and bombarded the whole ring.
Yeah, you had the OC there and Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and you know me, I'm not a big fan of Nathan Frazier and Axiom, but they keep pushing those guys. I don't understand why they keep doing that, but whatever. It is what it is. That's what they do, and that's what they like to do. So definitely, it's something that they're like. Wait. Somebody, Sean is like, what? What up? Oh, what up with the check mark all the way to the top? I like it. What's up, Sean? Thank you, sir, for coming in. We really appreciate it. The other big thing that happened last night in NXT was Lola Vice. Lola Vice had an open challenge, and Natalia came and was the surprise person to show up and take on Lola Vice, and I she definitely went ahead and took care of business by beating her, and it was nice. It was nice to see Natalia in NXT. It was nice to see how Lola Vice did against Natalia, because at the end of the day you kind of want to see how Lola Vice is going to eventually start matching up with some of these women fighters, because I mean she's giving it a push. It's not something that they really like Lola Vice, and they, even though she lost, they want to push eventually Vice eventually to make it into the big roster. So, anything else in NXT, sir, that you personally yourself enjoyed, or anything else you wanted to talk about when it comes to the NXT side that of what happened yesterday, sir?
Um, I like the whole Dragonov envelope thing going on. The message. So that seems like there's something cooking in there. So I like what they're doing with that direction too. But aside from that, NXT had a really good episode. Every match was exciting, and the way it ended was just pretty badass. And so I really enjoyed it. Didn't catch the full thing, but I really enjoyed it. On the side note, I know this is random, but why is Will Osprey fighting first match in the AEW card right now?
Sir,
Isn't that like a main guy right now? Isn't that like a main guy?
I mean, when it comes to the AEW side, sir, Will Osprey has to come up no matter what, sir. He is legit. He is the man that we all want to go ahead and obviously tune in. So AEW has to start with a bang, because of course it's Wednesday Night Dynamite, and that's how Mr. TK likes to always start the show with a bang, either with
It,
a breaking news announcement or with your best talent
TK
being played at the very beginning.
TK
So
doesn't believe in pay per view once in a blue moon. He believes it every week. All right, he makes pay per views every week.
I mean, it's what he's known for, sir. It's known for the AEW side. The AEW side is, hey, I need to start with a bang. I need to put the best cards out there. I need to do everything possible in order for the viewership to increase. But at the end of the day, let's keep it real, man. I mean, is he really honestly making the right decisions and putting and pushing that information and getting the attention of the wrestling fans more than before? No, I mean only the diehard fans are gonna eventually just keep going. But it's not like, hey, it's like, oh my god, I gotta watch it. No, man. I mean, I don't think he'll ever learn. Um, but we'll see. As a matter of fact, before we jump into the next topic, talk to me, sir. What do you think about? I know we don't usually cover it as much, but because me and Sean usually talk about it a lot on the Squared Circle Digest. But what did you think about The Rock and the whole Cody and the whole, you know, blood and work and the beatdown that Cody got this past week? What do you, on Monday?
um, I've realized that Triple H knows that WrestleMania is right around the corner, and so he needs to start dropping the atomic bombs right there with the writing, bro. It's insane. A lot of cursing, which to me brings in a lot more passion into it. Um, the blood was a nice touch, um, but overall, just what they're building and heading over to WrestleMania, it was intense. There was a lot of dialogue, a lot of question marks might have been answered. Some of them more, and now more questions are being brought in. Um, but my favorite part of the wrestling was, I mean, of the show was probably between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre. I think that segment was probably my favorite out of the whole show. Even though the whole Cody and Rock was cool, Becky and Rhea was cool too, but overall, that Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we like what me and Sean have spoken about. I mean, the WWE kind of type of attitude era is kind of like something that they're trying to sell to us again, and it definitely makes a big difference in the crowd and a big difference in us who really enjoy watching this side of WWE again, and thankfully Triple H has figured it out that this is the only way we're gonna be able. He's gonna still gain a lot of interest again when it comes to the wrestling fan, something that we haven't done. And plus, with the little like kind of like maneuver, like the changes that they've done with like the whole side effect, like the Rock's entrance looks like Thanos
Yo, that
and all that
entrance
stuff.
looked badass, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was intense. That was impressive, bro. And when he took out the white belt and he was like, "Mama, look what I have here," and I'm like, "Oh, he has the belt. The man has the belt."
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job. And then you got and not only that, but then you have freaking the whole CM Punk situation and Drew McIntyre and Drew is like I said, killing it, man. The guy is freaking
Well, we
amazing.
know now
I love
CM
it.
Punk is in WrestleMania, so that's good.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna definitely go ahead and be fun to see where they go night one and then see what ends up being the outcome on night two. So it's out there, man. It's a lot of rumors, a lot of things that could be happening soon, and I think overall, I mean, I'm just happy that we're able to enjoy wrestling like back in the day because it took a while, man. Wrestling was getting boring for a
Cody
while.
Rhodes' family is gonna come after the tribal chief family.
I mean, only time will tell, sir. I mean, me and Sean did throw out some wild ideas for WrestleMania, and you never know.
Educate educated guesses, I see.
Yeah. But with that being said, let's jump into their next segment. And our segment, of course, is the Miami Dolphins and the NFL just in general. So before we go ahead and we start talking about the Miami Dolphins in particular, I wanted to get your opinion. Like, there were some changes that happened in the NFL, and one of the biggest changes that the NFL had was the hip drop tackle. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you noticed, but when you grab when you go to tackle him, you pretty much hug them and then you take them down, and then usually what would happen is they would sit on their hip, and then that would eventually tackle the guy down. And a lot of people were saying, "Hey, this is a dangerous style of tackling because of the simple fact that their leg would get caught underneath." So it's like one of the biggest concerns that they have. So that's one of the reasons why the NFL took it. And if you had some comments out there, some guys think that it's fine, and some people say, "Hey, man, like let them play." Talk to me, Nick. What do you think, man? Do you think that was the right call? Do you think that hip tackle being banned is going to be something that is going to affect, how some of these teams actually have to play defense? Is it good for the NFL or is it bad for the NFL?
I've noticed that the NFL has been trying to portray this whole hey safety for the players and making sure that they don't they last longer throughout their careers and stuff. um when it comes to this, I think this is just another protocol that they want to continue driving into the culture of the NFL. It is going to make tackling a lot tougher for the heavier set guys, tight ends, running backs. Like, how are we going to tackle Derrick Henry now? And so it it's gonna impact for now, and all we can really do is give it is our opinions and our views of it. But at the end of the day, you know, the teams are gonna adapt. There's been a lot of changes, and just not in football in general, in other sports too, and so they just have to find a way to adapt. And there will be ways where you probably are gonna see now two players tackling one person, if that's even allowed. Can two players tackle the same person at the same
Yeah,
time?
why not?
Exactly. So if I can't pull you completely down, then I wouldn't be surprised if they throw two guys out there now. And so,
I think
you know,
I think for me, them getting rid or banning this hip drop tackle, I think it's bad for the NFL because I mean you're putting more like restrictions on the defense, and I think what's going to eventually happen is a lot of defenders are going to go after their legs, and now it's even going to be even
not
more
really,
harder.
because they'll probably get flagged for hitting too low.
Remember that only applies to the quarterback, but that doesn't apply
Oh,
to the guys out there on the field when they catch a football when they're running. You know, it doesn't happen like that. So now, I mean, like how else are you going to be able to tackle a player? Like, I mean, you have to literally,
and if you
stop
hit
them.
too high, then you might get hit for targeting. So it's like
Yeah, so they have to do something in order to stop that. I mean, it's
they had
sad
a
because it's
box.
hurting.
Apparently, the defenders had a box where the coaches would teach them, and you're like, "Hey, this is the box. You go ahead and you aim for that box." And now that box got even smaller now. And so it's gonna it the NFL is really pushing the narrative of having high scoring, you know, awesome, powerful offense plays, and less tackling, more points and more flashiness. And so I think that's the direction there. Before it used to be defense wins championships. Now it's who can put up the most points.
Yeah, man. And then the other rule that they went ahead and they implemented was we're gonna see something different, completely different, and that is the kickoffs. And now we have a different look. So let me go ahead and see if I could share this with you. That way you could see what exactly is now taking place when it comes to the kickoffs. And
I
they're
actually
going
like it.
here's a little break of a breakdown, right? So now this is the way you got to look at it, and you got the landing zone there, right? And when you're looking at the landing zone, you're pretty much are going ahead and the landing zone, the way it works, and if I have it's highlighted on the bottom, it says if the kick doesn't reach the landing zone, the ball is placed at the 40. So that's number one. Another important thing about this type of new kickoff rule is if you're going to do an onside kick, you have to announce it now. Like before, you could do the act of surprise, but now you literally have to go ahead and announce it. And the reason it's important, Nick, is
Man, that's
because
big.
the reason it's important because now the guys are gonna be lining on that that 35-yard line kind of section, right? And they kick off. So you got the kicker by himself and he's kicking off. And as soon as the receiving team, the player gets in the landing zone and catches that football, that's when you'll start seeing them start tackling and protecting him, and then that's the main. So now you're not going to be able to. You're just going to see the kicker on by himself next to the ball and doing it from there. There is other rules that they implemented. I think one of the things that they implemented as well was the fact that um if they kick it off twice, like if the ball falls down twice, they can now actually use the little pole that holds it and kick it now. So you could actually do that now. Like before
Interesting.
they didn't do that. Before it would be a player that would
Yeah.
hold on to the football and then will kick it. Now it's like no, you're not gonna have that anymore. And then on the bottom it says a little bit more of a description is if it goes out of the end zone or flies into the end zone and is down, the ball is at the 35. So if it goes out of the end zone or flies into the end zone, so if it makes it on the red section, the ball automatically goes to the 35-yard line. Now, if it hits the landing zone and it rolls into the end zone and is down, then the ball will be on the 20. So if they're able, like let's say the kicker kicks it in anywhere around that landing zone and they're not able, the receiver is not able to go ahead and catch it and it rolls into the end zone, now it's at the 20. So it's like, it's interesting. And then finally it says if it's caught in the landing zone, it must be returned. So that's big now, Nick, because now if you're in that landing zone, I mean, teams are gonna go ahead and kick it in that landing zone because you want them to return the freaking ball. You know, so it's like if they
Especially
can't.
in crucial games like crunch time games, like when there's like 10 seconds left in the clock and you don't want to burn 8 of it, like you have to now find a way to land,
Well,
grab it, and then go, and then not eat more than 4 or 5 seconds on the clock. What's interesting though for me is they're forcing now the ball to being placed a little bit more further ahead now. Now it's at the 35. If it flies into, if it hits the landing zone, right? If it goes out on the end zone and flies into the end zone and is down the ball at the 35, you see, look at that, that's huge. I think this is just kind of like I said before, it's favoring the offense again.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I like the idea, and of course they stole. I guess you could say they took this idea from, of course,
XFL.
the XFL. And let me show you guys because we do have video of how the XFL does it, and I'm gonna share this as well. That way you could see, and this basically is gonna show us how these teams are gonna more likely now be looked at. So here's the play. Oh, let me hold on a second. Let me mute that because I don't. Can you hear the volume?
No, but mute it. Screw
Let
that.
me just make sure. All right, so there you go. You have him. He's waving his hands up.
Let's
All right.
go. Let's go.
So you see that they're lined right there, right? And look at the difference. So the
Wow,
kicker's
look at the difference.
all the way over there, ready to kick the football. He kicks it. They stand still. It's in the landing zone. He picks it, and then that's when you start moving. And
This
then
is
all of us.
huge now for for kickoff returners. This is like bread and butter for players like that now. You know, like a Devin Hester, that's clutch, bro.
I mean, I think Devin Hester was. I mean, definitely Devin Hester is probably the all-time greatest in kick returns, but um, for the Miami Dolphins and for other players, I mean, it does give
Braxton
them.
Berrios now. Braxton Berrios gonna be eating this shit, bro. Let's go.
Not only that, but it's really gonna for I mean your strategy is, hey, I'm gonna go and I could put somebody back there, and it's very, I could probably go ahead and get lucky and not I could have Waddle back there. I could have Tyreek Hill back down
Oh,
there and
that's a
nothing's
good
gonna
point. You
happen.
can pick anybody now.
Yeah, like before you think they would get injured. Now this is pretty much like, to be honest with you, Nick, this is like if they caught the football, as a wide receiver. Like I caught the football and then everybody starts blocking. That's it. That's all it is. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I actually like the play because now it shows you what type of formations you can use in blocking and different schemes. And it just makes the kickoff now a lot more interesting without having to raise the danger in it. Because before going full velocity, 30, 40 yards deep already running towards another player, that was freaking crazy, bro. And now I really like this play. I really do.
yeah, I mean, could it change in the long run? Like as far as like, is it a big impact in the game? Maybe, maybe not. Because
I think
remember,
so.
well, this is the thing, Nicholas. Every single time they kick the ball in kickoffs, 9 out of 10 times, it's usually going into the end zone. You feel me? So it's like they probably are not gonna do that. If you kick it over the end zone, you're still in the 35-yard line. So it's
Yeah,
like
that's
whatever.
35. That before it used to be in the 25, no?
I don't think it was 25 the last time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think so.
Wasn't a touchback or whatever 25 or 30?
I don't know.
I don't remember it being 35, or am I tripping?
Let me see. Touchback in football back in the day, it would be
Guys,
with
don't forget to hit the like button, by the way. Don't forget hit the like button.
so it would be if okay, so here how it works. If okay, if a kicked ball either is in the result of the punt, kick, or missed field goal, touches the ground, or no, this is giving the new our touchbacks on the 20 or 25. The NFL adopted this later change in 2023. All other touchback situation in both rules result in possession at the 20 and touchback. So I guess it used to be on the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
I guess that's how it was back in the day. I'm not too sure, but I mean, obviously now, if it goes into the end zone and it's down, the ball goes automatically to the 35. I swear I thought it was the same. I thought that didn't change. I thought that was the same thing. I honestly thought it was obvious. It was always on the 35-yard line. I don't know why.
Yeah, you see? The old touchback rule placed it at the 25, so the return man may want to return this type of a kick.
Oh, so they're pushing it now 10 more yards. They're
Yeah.
forcing the kicker to kick it in that end zone area. Is what they're doing. Oh, because you know what? It makes sense now because a lot of the times the kickers would just kick it out of bounds and then you wouldn't have anybody return the football. So they're like, okay, so now it's kind of irrelevant.
People were complaining. You see, 20 back in the day changed to 25. You see, so that's 10 yards, bro. That's Can you imagine doing that? And then you got what 10 seconds left? You throw a nice 20-yarder, you're almost around field goal position. It's just it you're pretty good at that. So it forces the team to now be like, yo, I really cannot just botar la pelota. You feel me? And the crazy part is that the NFL used to like everyone said, oh, kickoffs were being too dangerous, and I agree with that. But then the NFL were complaining about how there was too many touchbacks. So now it makes sense why they implemented this new rule. If you're gonna touchback, just be aware that it's gonna be in the 35. Because if not, if in order for it to be in the 20, if I'm not mistaken, we just read it right now, it has to hit the landing zone and
Yeah,
then come out about go out of the end zone, right?
correct. That was actually
There you
that's
go.
what it basically stated. So and again, I'll pull it up that way you could see it. So yeah, in order for it to come in, it would have to be if the kick doesn't reach the landing zone, the ball will be placed on the 40. So at least it has to make it into the landing zone
Now,
or the end zone because if not, it's gonna go to the 40-yard line. But if it does get into the end zone and it's down in the end zone, then like it says in the bottom, the ball will make it all the way to 35. If
but
it's
what
in
about if the ball? What if the ball rolls in before the landing zone and then yeah, it rolls in. No, it can't. It can't. No, you're right.
It says if kick doesn't reach the landing zone, ball is placed on the 40. So I'm assuming. So let's say, for example, he kicks the ball, but it hits. Let's say because the landing zone is the 20-yard line all the way to the 1-yard line, right? So let's
Yeah,
say he hits it and it lands on the 25-yard line instead, and all of a sudden it rolls into
out of
uh
bounds. What if it hits the 20 and then it rolls out of bounds?
it
Does it
made
get
it
hit?
it made it to the landing zone. So it's still gonna be um if kick doesn't reach landing zone, boss plays for it. If it goes out of the end zone and flies into the end zone and is down, the ball is on the 35. I don't know. I mean, I know that every single time when it gets um kicked and it gets rolled out of bounds, there's a
It would hit
flag
on the 40.
and they would put it on the 40. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I guess we're gonna have to figure it out when they
Maybe
play
we're
that.
just thinking about this too hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure because I mean, you're right. If that doesn't change. So if it grows out of bounds, then you're
Then
still
it's
gonna get a
40
penalty. You're still gonna
regular.
get a
Okay.
penalty flag. So it's still gonna make it all the way to the 40-yard line. So
And even if it and if and the crazy part is that if he shanks it and it doesn't even reach the landing zone, then it gets hit in the 40. Would that be the touchback then? Let's say the guy catches it within the 30 and 20. You think he would just touch back and be like, I'd rather grab the 40.
what do you mean? I don't get you. What do you mean?
So like you know where the ball is right now, right? Imagine he kicks it and then he kicks it horribly and it doesn't land. It lands between the 30-yard line and the 20. And then
Okay,
the
that
guy
white area. That
and
this
then
white this white area here, right?
yeah, and let's say the Dolphins are the receiving team and they catch it. Can he just touch back in and be like, "Hey, it didn't reach the land"?
So like fair catch it from there.
Yeah, But maybe I'm just making shit up. Maybe I'm just making shit up.
I mean, if he fair catches it there, then I'm assuming the ball is placed on the 40 because it never reached the landing zone.
I
But
guess.
yeah, I mean, it would if you don't want any time to go off the clock, and if I'm in this landing zone, and I'm sorry, if I'm in front of the landing zone in this white area, and I see that the ball is there, I'm just gonna fair catch it because I'm already guaranteed gonna be in the 40-yard line. Now, I don't know the extent, and again, it's probably because I don't watch the XFL, but if he catches it in the white area, right, this area that we're talking about, and then he goes and he starts to run. But let's say he goes backwards. Let's say he's getting pushed backwards, and he runs and he loses yards and he makes it back into like the 20-yard line. Will the ball stay inside? What because he caught it and he started running with the ball and he got tackled, like let's say on the, I don't know, let's say on the 19-yard line.
I still think he'll lose yardage.
Will he fall, will the place be dead on the 19, or will they automatically say, "Yo, you still didn't reach it. He still kicked it in that white area, so they still get to be placed on the 40-yard line." I don't know. Again, I think we're thinking too much into this. I at the
Will
end of
this make them stop hitting that? You know that little random kick they hit at like the end of the game when it's kind of like a really ugly kickoff. It's
yeah,
just bouncing.
like a bouncy one, yeah.
Yeah, like a bouncy one, and it's just like, oh, para terminar el primer tiempo, or like to finish the game. You think now that they do that, it's automatically placed on the 40?
I mean, yeah, if they decide to do that, if they do that like bouncing kick, I mean, again, I don't know,
It's just
man.
it's a lot. It's a lot. We'll find out. Whatever. Fuck it. I like
Yeah,
the run.
again, from the looks of it and from the XFL, the most logical sense is, hey, let me just kick it in the
Kick it.
landing
Yeah.
zone.
Mm-hmm.
That way, somebody returns it, and while they're returning it, we'll just tackle it. And most likely, they won't pass the 35-yard line or the 30-yard line. That's the thing. And if the kicker is like, screw it, we're just gonna kick it, then just kick it overboard and whatever. We'll just
This
defend
also
starting on the
this
35.
also helps the special teams coach to kind of be like, yo, we can have an impact play, force a fumble. Like it's just
So hold on, Sean wrote something. He says only the kicker and two returners would be allowed to move until either the ball hits the ground or is touched by a returner inside the 20-yard line.
oh okay.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, they are only so only the kicker and two returners would be allowed to move until either the ball hits the ground. But that's why, Sean, that's why we're asking if the ball gets kicked. You know how they like to do that bouncing ball? So they kick the ball, it bounces, but then instead of it starts already like so if he kicks it and it starts going, I don't know, let's say for example, the ball starts rolling on the 40-yard line. They could start immediately moving, right? Like there's nothing,
Yeah, because the ball hit the ground from the get go.
yeah, so it's like I don't know, man. I mean, it's gonna be tricky. I mean, again, teams might find a way to use this as a benefit. I'm not sure. So he wrote something and he says, a kick that reaches the end zone in the air can either be returned or the returning team could opt for a touchback in which the team will receive the ball at the 30-yard line. Yeah, no, I see that.
Oh, so Stan said a little earlier that it was XFL was 40. So I guess this is the 30.
Mm. Again, man, I don't know, man. It's it's an interesting take. I mean,
I mean, I really haven't studied about it, so you're hearing me really thinking about what's going
yeah,
on with this.
like this is the first time I actually was like getting into detail. Maybe I gotta look into it, and
We
maybe
probably have to watch a little bit more XL football highlights, sir. That's what we got to do.
yeah, because I mean, I don't know if you could strategically do something and how it's gonna cost them. I don't know. I mean, and the NFL, teams are gonna try to do like sneaky things. I mean, look at the tush push type of play. They didn't ban that, and they've taken advantage of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they figure out a way to be sneaky with it and try to get the upper hand. It says one last thing. Let me see what Sean writes. Sean wrote, if a ball hits the returner or the ground before the end zone and it goes into a touchback would be that's what it shows on the
So then,
bottom.
so then,
The
so
same
then
thing
it
that's
would be 20. It would be 20.
yeah. I don't know.
But
I
anyways,
think we're taking too much into this, so let's just forget about that. I mean, we'll figure it out once the season starts.
yeah, we went
Sure,
15
bro.
minutes after that.
I think we were like, I mean, either we really didn't get the rule, or we're trying to dissect the rule too much.
Yo, I think so. I
So,
think so.
people are gonna be like, why the hell? Why are these guys talking about the damn got that rule? Fuck that. Nah, fuck that. No, we're not gonna talk about that rule. Whatever.
Yo,
Either way, I think at the end of the day, it'll be cool just looking at them and seeing them like in that new formation, and then I'm pretty sure our team will probably figure it out how to be sneaky into their advantage, and then probably the NFL's gonna have to change it up again. So that's how people work. But let's talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins. The last thing we had heard last week was, of course, the possibility of the Miami Dolphins signing Odell Beckham Jr. And Odell was intrigued to be part of the Miami Dolphins, but he never went ahead and gave the green light. Talk to me, Nick. Are the Miami Dolphins going to sign Odell? Is he going to be the next Miami Dolphin?
You want my honest opinion? I don't think so. I think it was supposed to happen at that moment, but when the numbers don't line up, and you know the Dolphins right now, when they give an offer, they stick with that offer, and if they don't, and if you don't accept the offer, they're gonna move on from you. If we've seen it with a couple of free agents last year and a couple of years from now, and so the Dolphins are very stern when it comes to their offers. And if old BJ didn't feel like it was a good number, then the Dolphins are gonna be like, "Hey, we're here, but we'll offer you this." And so he's gonna try to. I think OBJ has a couple of more months before he can really uh, have a final decision on where he wants to land. But for now, my answer is no. He's not gonna get picked up by the Dolphins.
Um, I'm gonna piggyback on you, man. I agree. I don't think he's gonna sign with the Dolphins. The guy sat out the whole entire 2022 season because he wanted to get paid, and he got a 1 year deal, 15 million for Baltimore. Um,
Wouldn't be
I-
surprised if the Dolphins offered him like a 1 year, 8 million, because they probably gave him like close to what Cedric Wilson was making.
yeah.
two
So
years, 14 million, something like that.
I don't think they gave him 2 years, or maybe they did. Maybe they have, but I don't think at the end of the day, if Odell wanted to be a Dolphin, he would have done. He would have already signed up. I mean, if you put yourself in his shoes, there's two factors that are playing in his head. Number one is, am I getting paid? Obviously, so he's definitely not getting 15 million from the Dolphins. We could definitely say that. And then number two, if he's not getting what he wants, is he going to be able to get as much receiving yards, balls thrown at him, et cetera, with the guys who you have in front of him? And unfortunately, on the Dolphin side, you don't. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are number 1 and 2. So he's going to be your third option. So he's not going to get that many balls thrown at him. And remember, we focus on our offense a lot on Tyreek Hill. So it's like his numbers are going to get hurt compared to what they were last year. What he was getting in Baltimore. And granted, Lamar Jackson's not the best thrower, and he probably could have gotten more yards with a better quarterback. But when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, he's not going to get on many targets, and I think that's going to hurt him. And I think that's what he's realized. He's like, look, I want to play for a contender. I want to play, with the Dolphins is not a bad option, but show me the money. If you're not gonna give me if you're not gonna throw the football at me, then you got to show me the money because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to produce. Because I don't think even if we offer him a 1 year deal, the problem here is he's probably not gonna resign again with the Dolphins. So then now he has to find another home. And what is the first thing that other teams look at? His stats. And if his stats were hurt because of the fact that they threw the ball all the time to Tyreek or Jalen Waddle, it
But
just
you
doesn't
don't
make
think
any
he
sense.
can replicate the type of numbers he had over there here? I mean, Trent Sheffield had like 400 and something yards and like 4 touchdowns, and he was like the third receiver. And that was Trent Sheffield. So you don't think OBJ can hit 500 with at least 5 touchdowns?
Okay,
I get
so
I get Johnu Smith is gonna probably get a good bulk of it too because of him with his
all right.
with his
So
with
so
his
let
talent and hands. But
Okay, so let's look at this. So good. Okay, so let's look at Trent Sheffield. Back in 2022, Trent Sheffield, he had 30 receptions, 417 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and he averaged about 13.9. 13.9 was his average, which is not bad. Actually, those are not bad numbers. Who was our number 3 this year?
our
Braxton
number
Berrios, right?
three, our number three this year was most. It was probably Cedric Wilson, but he wasn't a no show. So
Well, look, so it had to be either Braxton Berrios or Cedric Wilson. That's the only way you're gonna look
we
at it.
paid good money for Cedric to be honestly the number two, but he went down to number three, and uh, Barrios and Chosen and
Well,
Park,
look, if
Craycraft, and all those guys picked up the rest.
if you look at Braxton Berrios' numbers last year, again, this is sitting behind Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. He had 27 receptions, 230 yards. He averaged about 8.8, and he had 1 touchdown. That's what Braxton Berrios had. And if we look at Cedric Wilson's numbers, and of course, Cedric Wilson also, there was a couple games where obviously Tyreek Hill didn't play or Jalen Waddle didn't play. But Cedric Wilson's numbers last year were 22 receptions, 296 yards, 31 average. I'm sorry, 13.5 average. His longest was 31, and he had 3 touchdowns. So you're looking at that, you know, 22 to 30, maybe 35 type of range when it comes to receptions as a third guy for the Dolphins instead of uh what being a second or a third string. And if you look at Odell's numbers from his time with Baltimore Ravens, he had 35, 565, and 3 touchdowns. So I guess you could say he probably, but he wasn't even with the Ravens the whole season. So if he was with the Ravens the whole season, he probably would have had more receptions. So it's like I don't know, man. I think he would get less receptions if he was gonna go ahead and I think he was gonna get less receptions behind Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Oh, we got Steven in the building. What's up, Steven? Says
What's up,
Frankie, my
brother?
brother. What's up? What's up, homie? Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on, bro. That's because Hill became available. Yeah, that's true, man. Hill did become available, and that's everything changed once Hill became available, and then obviously it pushed everything. The whole idea of Cedric Wilson being our number 2 guy, but right now, the what a lot of us Dolphin fans are talking about is like, yo, we want to move from Tyreek Hill, and in my opinion, I was one of the first ones to start announcing and saying, hey, we need to trade him, we need to get rid of him, because look, man, let's keep it real. If we were to Tyreek Hill is a big part of the Miami Dolphins, but we're paying an arm and a leg for this guy. So does it make any sense for us to keep paying all this stuff? And I know he's into that trouble, like he's been having a little issues off the field and all that stuff, but when it comes to on the field, he's still legit. I don't care what anybody says, you're still gonna be able to trade Tyreek Hill. He's Tyreek Hill. The only thing is that a team is probably only gonna take Tyreek Hill is if the Dolphins eat a lot of that, of his salary. They're like, hey, you got to pay for it. We're not gonna just eat up all that whole salary. That's the problem. That's why I don't think Tyreek Hill is available for trade. I don't think anybody's gonna trade for him because he's getting paid. But at the end of the day, I always said, hey, it's time to move on. I'm happy as of right now that they have not extended or they went ahead and reconstructed his contract. They didn't restructure his contract. So that's a good sign. I'm hoping that he just stays 2 more years with us and then we move on. Because at the end of the day, I think we need to move on from him. And obviously, we got to make Jalen Waddle the number 1 receiver, especially if we're going to have to pay him. He's going to take over that Tyreek contract. Right? Don't you think so?
Is he a $20 million wide receiver, or is he a $15 million a year
So,
wide receiver?
so Steven goes, I really don't blame everyone. This dude is a head case, but he's good to get rid of. I'm telling you, man, it is.
It's just tough to get rid of Tyreek right now because everything is so focused on Tyreek. So it's like I don't want to trade Tyreek yet. I would give him an extra 2 years, and then from there, I guess try to either by then we'll have another plan. But he's still the great bulk of offense, and so unless we draft someone, I don't know who could replace the workload that Tyreek is getting right now.
I mean, Jalen Waddle. I mean that, and of course,
But
remember
that,
the
but
Dolphins.
I get you, but Jalen Waddle, he needs to do a little bit more. Like
But
sometimes he has his moments where you're like, man, he kind of has butterfingers, but
I just think at the end of the day, remember, this is a system in place offense. So whether it's Tyreek Hill or whether it's Jalen Waddle, it's supposed to be the same. And typically, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, there's not that much of a difference. Tyreek is a little bit more faster. Maybe if he holds on to the football a little bit more than Jalen Waddle. But I mean, we saw last year that Tyreek Hill was dropping passes left and right as well. So it's like it's supposed to be a mirror of themselves, right? That's what it's supposed to be. So at the end of the day, whether we have Jalen Waddle or we have Tyreek Hill as the number 1 receiver running that slot, it should not make a difference. That's why, believe me, I feel we should trade him. I don't think there's any interest from anybody to pick him up in a trade because of how much he costs. That's the only reason why. Because if the Dolphins are able to go ahead and say, hey, hold on a second, let's eat a lot of his contract to get rid of him, which wouldn't make any sense, but they probably to alleviate some cap for not this year, but not for not for next season, but the following season. So like that final year of his contract, it would make sense because now you got that final year of his. I mean, you're getting an expiring contract, which is good. That's why I'm
Mhm.
assuming not this year would. I don't think they would trade him this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would. They have a good shot at trading him the following season because now you're trading away an expiring contract. So, but
Correct. But he's
Jackals, you
too
can't
much of a
trade.
you can't trade him right now, man. We're riding with that contract. Exactly, bro. We gotta
Listen,
ride with
trading Hill will set the team back big time. No one can replace him right now. It's a win now. You think so? You think trading away Tyreek Hill is gonna set back the Dolphins? I mean, what have we accomplished? We haven't even won a playoff match. You're telling me if we get rid of Tyreek Hill, we're not even gonna make the playoffs? Nick, do you think that? Because if we trade Tyreek Hill, are we not good enough to at least make the playoffs without him? Is that how much the offense relies on him?
Um, look, man. I know Tua is a talented player, but yo,
Oh,
Tyreek brings in that juice, man, and he's that game changer, bro. He can make
wait.
game changing plays. I know Tua, he's accurate. He's he's a great quarterback, but you need to have those pieces, man. And Tyreek is something that's pretty big right now. Obviously, the system can change. I'm not saying no, but with the system we have right now, without Tyreek, it would be tough. It would be tough to see the season go play out without him.
I feel like what you're telling me is that it's like, are you kind of insinuating that Tyreek carries Tua? Is that what you're trying to tell me right here, sir? Are you saying that this system won't work without a Tyreek Hill on the team? Like, come on. This is Tua. This is the our savior, the guy who's supposed to take us to the next level, the guy who's been the best quarterback in the Dolphins franchise history. This is facts. Then Dan Marino comes first, and then him, right? I mean, that I 100% agree.
Statistically, yes.
But I mean, again, remember, we haven't had the greatest quarterbacks in the Dolphins. The Dolphins haven't been the best organization finding quarterbacks. So let's just keep it real. That I know. But you're telling me if I remember where there's trade talks. I'm not trade talks. I mean contract talks with Tua. So they want to go ahead and they want to, pay Tua because Tua is a franchise QB, sir. He's a franchise guy. So we need to be able to pay him because he's gonna deliver. If he's a franchise QB, it doesn't matter who's out there, man. It could be Braxton Berrios at our number one. He should be able to deliver. The system is in place, sir.
Look, he had a phenomenal year last year, but we got to make sure he can be consistent. Everyone can have their one off, but we got to make sure that he's healthy next year again and that he displays the same numbers. And if he does, then yeah, definitely get rid of Tyreek. We'll work with the pieces we have, young pieces, draft pieces, and we'll move on from Tua. We'll move with Tua. But I know I don't want to set the bar any higher for Tua, but it's good. He hit really good numbers this year, and hopefully he can either surpass those numbers or just bring in the same numbers next year.
Sean goes and says Frankie hates Tua so much. No, I do not hate Tua. I think Tua has been the best quarterback the Miami Dolphins have had since Dan Marino. I vouch for that 100%. And I've already mentioned it plenty of times on this channel that at the end of the day, what ends up happening is Tua's a very nice player, but he just is not the guy. That's what it is. Here comes the shots by Sean. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Frankie Kelly here now. I'm telling you right now. I'm giving you my opinion. Nick, come on. All right. I don't want to talk about Tua because I don't want you guys to think that this is the only topic that the Dolphins have. But unfortunately, we have to talk about Tua because his contract is up. His contract, like we got to make sure we got to pay this guy, right? Because he is our savior. He is gonna be the one who brings us a championship. We need him. That's the mentality here in Miami. Like, oh, God forbid we lose Tua. Like, like we're terrible if we lose Tua. Are we really terrible if we lose Tua? Seriously, in my opinion. I
The
mean,
system is built around the players that we have now, which is Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek. And if one of those pieces go off, then the whole thing just kind of shifts for us sometimes.
I just I think it's horseshit. I'm being honest with you, bro. I just think like why isn't Tyreek irreplaceable? You got
He's
Jalen
not
Waddle.
irreplaceable, but to get rid of him right now with the window that we have one or two more years with him. What's the rush from trading him? He's still giving us really good numbers. And if we
Well,
can,
because he costs an arm and a leg.
I get it, I get that, but that's sometimes what it takes when you have not a great quarterback, not an elite quarterback.
Oh, so you're saying that Tua is a great quarterback, but he ain't elite?
No, he's not
So
elite.
okay, so do great quarterbacks need two number one receivers in order for them to be great? Or can a great quarterback just need one guy? Can he do it with one? If he's a great quarterback, he should be able to do it with one, right? At least with one guy. He doesn't need
At
two.
least do it. At least do it with one guy. I mean, look what Patrick Mahomes did, and it was with a tight end.
I mean,
And when he had Juju as his second, he won a Super Bowl as well. And so he could do it with two. He could do it with one. I don't know if he could do it with zero, but yeah.
And Sean, you mentioned this is like, but what do you get in return in a deal for Tyreek? Again, I don't know what his price is gonna be out there. I don't know what you could get. I mean, I'm assuming you're probably gonna get draft picks for him, and you're gonna get some more room on the cap salary that Dolphins are able to do. That's the most important thing. Remember, we're hurting when it comes to how much money we had. We lost a lot of we lost players. And now we're kind of like searching. We had to search and dig deep to find some of these guys to could replace our players. Not to say that it's not bad. At least on paper, as of right now, Chris Greer has kind of like been able to do a decent job in bringing in players to replace the players that we had. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is a little bit disappointing that we had to let go of guys that unfortunately we drafted. The whole point of being able to draft players just to keep them. And that's not to say that they did not do their best to try to keep Christian Wilkins, because obviously they were offering him and they were trying to negotiate his contract. It wasn't not only this year, but it was the year before. And then obviously when he wanted more money, they had to go to Zach Sealer. But at the end of the day, we're not in that locker room. We're not Chris Greer. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know what what is his plans and all that stuff. We don't, and again, we don't know the extent of our players of how much they're asking for. But it is a little bit interesting to see where the next group of guys are going to be asking for. Javon Holland, no, we don't know how much he's going to get paid. Tua, we don't know how much he's asking for. Jalen Waddle, how much is he going to get paid? A lot of these guys, we don't know. And then keep in mind, we already saw this first wave. Chris Greer's the type of guy that says, okay, man, if it ain't gonna, if these guys don't want to work with me, bye-bye, so long. I don't need you. So I wouldn't be surprised that we might see a second wave next season. The
massacre was this year. The
massacre was this year
for the preparation for next year.
All right, let's talk about this. So you don't think Chris Greer, and Chris Greer, because I don't know how much he was offering these guys, but I mean, he let go of Xavier Howard. He said bye-bye so long. And with all due respect, he's not the Xavier Howard that we got when we first brought him on here. He let Christian Wilkins walk because, Christian Wilkins was asking for a lot of money and he had not proven it. So, okay, makes sense. Robert Hunt is one that one hurts. And he deserved it. Obviously, he deserved it. Andrew Van Ginkel, another guy who deserved it. Another guy that these four guys, we all drafted them. All of them. And he let them walk. This is the first wave. Second wave, would you be shocked if he lets Tua walk? Would you be shocked if he lets Jalen Waddle walk? Would you be shocked if he... No, because he's already done it. He's already done it.
I don't think he's gonna let those guys all go. They're... If that was the case, he would have signed at least one or two pieces back from this massacre that happened. But for now, he said nope. He values what it is now in the future. So maybe the future is Well, for sure it's gonna be Tua. They're gonna re-sign him, so or extend him. I mean.
Ugh, I-
But anyways, back to what we were talking about. OBJ as the number 3. Yes, he would be a great piece, but will he be signed by the Dolphins? No. I think, like I said before, they offered him a number. They kept it. They kept their word, and we just have to find out who could it be. Hunter Renfro, maybe. We don't know.
I don't know, but you know, us Miami Dolphin fans, we love to like wish that every single high end player comes to the Dolphins. You know, oh my God, Derrick Henry, he's coming to Miami. Oh, Dalvin Cook, he's going to Miami. Odell, oh, he's coming to Miami. And you're a culprit of that, Nick, because you and me always talking. You're like,
Hell
Frankie,
yeah.
we got it. Let's get this guy. Let's get that guy. And I'm telling you, Nick, I'm like, Nick, they're not gonna get that guy because at the end of the day, they don't. That's
I
not how
hope
it's
I
gonna
hope
work.
I hope Aaron Donald gets convinced by Mike McDaniel and comes out of retirement and comes sign a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. Why not? I'm up for it.
You crazy, bro. You crazy. Now, we've been talking a little bit about this, but I see something in the comments, and I appreciate you guys chiming in the comments. I see this, Nick. Look what Steven wrote. He wrote, with the correct coaching, I'm sure they would have won a couple of playoff games. And his message before that was saying, hey, unfortunately, we had 2 seasons that been injury riddled. But
That's
he's
true.
saying,
That's true.
with the correct coaching, I'm sure they would win a playoff game. Steven, you're telling me that you're blaming Mike McDaniel? Are you blaming Mike McDaniel like some of these other guys out there? Like our good friend Big O, who keeps taking jabs at Mike McDaniel, thinking that Mike McDaniel is the reason that the Dolphins suck. I mean, he's he needs to improve. He's not perfect. Or like Sean, because I think Sean is another one. Sean is another one that he's like, oh, it's all Mike McDaniel. We've had him as a guest on our podcast, and he has come on here saying he's not too satisfied or like he doesn't feel Mike McDaniel is making the necessary changes in order to give Tua the opportunity. I just, this is what I love, man. This is what I love about the Miami Dolphins fans. You know, it's all about, making let's let it like you know how you have a girl and for Valentine's Day, right? And then you have her there and you want to make a bed for her, put flowers, make it all pretty, like sell her, be like, look, baby, I got you. This is what the Dolphins are doing with Tua. It's like, yo, we gotta make his bed, ponerle la roses, the rose petals, toda esa comidería for him, because he's so special to us. He's like we've never been able to get another
Golden
quarterback,
child.
and yeah, he's so special for us. He's such the man. We love him. We have to show him so much love. For me, yeah, f that. Like f that, bro. Like, maybe that's why I don't have a girlfriend, and maybe that's why I'm still single, because I don't go that extreme, man. Eh, unless you've done something for me, then hell yeah, then I could understand why I'm giving that woman that treatment. But what has Tua given me? Tua hasn't given me crap.
So then let's draft what's this guy's name? Penix? Penix from
Nick, don't bring that up, bro. You're gonna get these Tua lovers
put
upset,
some
bro.
competition on him, bro. Put some competition on him. Get him on the first round. Let's do it.
Don't, sir. Don't bring that topic, man. Don't do that, sir. You're gonna hurt these Tua lovers out there, bro, who still believe that Tua, is the right person for it. Look, here it goes. Chad goes, it's Ross. He's the problem. I'm convinced. We have been mediocre the entire ownership. I do agree, bro. I'm not a big fan of our owner. Our owner he's had bad luck, and I do feel that that's an issue, and I don't think it's. I don't know if it hopefully it'll once it gives up the team. I don't know if his daughter's gonna be the one who's gonna take over, but or he'll sell it to somebody else. But you at least with Ross, Chad, we have an owner that at least wants to win. It could be worse. It could be like the Marlins. So that's why I Dolphins could be at least the Dolphins are relevant. Because there's been a couple of years that, bro, if we were like the Marlins, where we're literally the bottom of the barrel, I
Hey,
don't think
watch out
me.
for the Martins though. They made some pretty good trades.
I don't.
Michael Penix Jr. 6'3", 215 pounds.
Looks like a beast out there. It looks like a beast out
36,
there.
36 touchdowns and 11 interceptions and 4 rushing touchdowns.
Steven, the, sir, don't talk to me about this abandoning the run and all that crap. I'm telling you right now, man. You you look at this, you look at those games, you look at the Dolphins game. Me and my brother are season ticket holders. We go to these goddamn games and we know how much the Dolphins run the football. And when they have opportunities to run, yes, there's sometimes when McDaniel is an idiot and he doesn't run, but everybody, when you're there, you'll see that you're like, okay, he's running the football, and yet we're not gaining any yards here and there. Just because I love this whole like narrative, bro. This whole narrative of like, yo, the Dolphins don't do this, the Dolphins don't do that. Let's point the finger on somebody else. All this, no, man. Take ownership, bro. At the end of the day, yes, he makes mistakes. Yes, sometimes he doesn't run the football when we end. And yes, there's people. You know how crazy it is, Nick. And tell me if
maybe
I'm telling.
maybe the reason why they don't run the football as much is because Tua's like, nah, screw that, bro. I'm gonna do an audible and I'm gonna run the ball. I'm gonna make my running back run it. I know McDaniel, he doesn't see what I see right now, but I don't know if he's doing that either. We don't know that. We don't know that.
I love this one. I love it. It's on all of them. Mike McDaniel too. The vendor selling those hot dogs, those overpriced hot dogs out there. The F1, the Miami Open. That is true, sir. That is the best comment. I'm gonna highlight that comment. We'll put a little star on it. There you go. We'll put a little star on it there, sir. So yes, that is one of the reasons why. At the end of the day, absolutely, sir. I do agree. I mean, some of the food out there is a little bit pricey too. I'm not gonna lie, but I will say this, guys. I will say this. Being a season ticket holder, they give us good discounts, right, Nick? We get
Yeah,
decent
no, we get
discounts.
20% discounts on merchandise when it comes to clothing and apparel. And then we get a 15% discount on beverages and concession stand foods. And pretty much everything. We get 20% off on Polo Tropical. I was so happy Polo Tropical made it to Hard Rock.
Yeah, and I think this one's for you, Nick. He says yes. Okay, Tua is out there audibling. Yeah, sure he is. We all know it. We've already had this conversation with Tua. Steven says, okay, so who's to blame here? Because the whole team was injured. Okay, look, man. Okay, Steven, let's keep it real, man. Injuries are gonna happen in football. That's the reality of the truth. I don't care how many injuries at the end of the day you have in one team. If you need your main pieces are still out there. Tua is your main piece. Tyreek Hill's your main piece. Jalen Waddle's your main piece. Those guys are still out there. They should be able to deliver. The defense, they did what they had to do. The defense is where they took the majority of the hit. The offense wasn't, the offense was not the one who got really hurt throughout the season. It was the defense. But yet the defense did enough to win. So if we're gonna criticize the Dolphins this past season, it has to be the offense at the end of the day, right? And this team was like everybody's way of talking. Oh, the Dolphins, they're a powerhouse when it comes to the offense. We haven't seen an offense like this like in years. Fastest. What do you call it? Fastest team on grass. Kind of like
Greatest turf greatest team on turf, whatever it's called.
yeah, greatest team on grass with Dolphins. Nah, that ain't happening, sir. That ain't happening. So at the end of the day, I just don't see it. I don't want to go into much details with the whole, what if, who's to blame, or all that stuff. All I can say is this, guys. I want to see results. Dolphins, give us the results offensively. I think defensively we'll still be fine. But offensively, we need to figure it out. Whether it's Mike McDaniel with his play calling, whether it's Tua putting on the big boy pants, and sometimes going ahead and telling Mike McDaniel, hey, screw it, I'm not gonna run that play. I'm the one on the field. I'm supposed to be the one who's gonna do. I'm gonna call an audible. I'm gonna go ahead and change the play on the field. Whatever. Those type of things he needs to do. That's what I see. Tyreek Hill needs to catch balls and not freaking drop them. Jalen Waddle has to do the exact same thing. That's why these guys get paid the money that they get paid, bro. At the end of the day, deliver. That's all I'm asking for. I just want them to be competitive when it comes to the offense. I want them to be averaging 21, 30 points. That's what I want to see. That's the only thing I want from the offense. The defense, I personally, in my opinion, Nick, and I'm being honest with you, I think the defense is gonna be fine. I think we're gonna be fine. There's no issues. There's nothing. It will be fine. I don't see us getting. I don't see our defense sucking balls out there. And if you know what, and if the defense can't stop the other team, then you know what? That's why we have a powerhouse offense, right? So if we have to score 30, 40 points, that's what's expected from the Miami offense, right? But I mean, we could go back and forth. We could go with this. We've been talking about the Dolphins this whole time. I just, at the end of the day, I just hope that the Miami Dolphins finally give us something to be excited about when it comes to beyond the playoffs. Because, granted, I am not a hater of the Dolphins. I am 100% Dolphin lover. I've been a Dolphin since day one. I mean, for the love of God, I'm pretty sure when my mom had me, she probably told the doctor, "Hey, make sure you put Frankie with a dolphin blanket because that's how serious he's going to be for the rest of his life with the Dolphins." And that's exactly how I took it. I'm pretty sure when the doctor slapped my ass, I probably said, "That's another Miami first down." That's how I feel when I because I'm a Dolphin fan. I've been a Dolphin fan all my freaking life, and I don't care whether it's Tua, whether it's Mike White, whether it's Skyler. I just want, or whether it's Tyreek Hill, whether it's any of those guys out there. I just want Dolphins to win, and I think we're really gonna be able to. We need something to change our fortune out there, but we'll
We'll see,
see.
sir. We'll see, sir.
We'll see. Last thing before we change topic, but so in your opinion, the team is better this year than last year. Steven, I think they're okay. Frankie said the Dolphins suck. I heard it. I know Sean did too. I did not say the Dolphins suck. I said the Dolphins need to prove something to us because they've already made it to the playoffs. So expectations are higher now, you know? So now we got to the playoffs. Now you gotta at least win a playoff game. I think at the end of the day, man, to be and Nick, we had this conversation, right? We had this conversation. How far? What's the ceiling with? And I know we're going back to this, but what's our thing with Tua? And we both agreed, you and me. And correct me if I'm wrong. That I think with Tua, the most we could get is the AFC Championship, right? That's what we both agreed. So and that's not an insult to Tua, but I mean, when it was the last time the Dolphins made it to the AFC Championship, I probably wasn't probably 5 or 6 when that last time happened.
I think it was 1987.
I don't know, man. I know. Well, they were in the AFC Championship a couple games against Buffalo in the 90s, and I
So
know
then
Buffalo
92 maybe
somewhere
or
around there. Probably
91.
the thing is that you probably weren't born at that time, Nick. So
I was
that's
born in
how.
93, which was one year that they started off really well and then they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think Dan Marino got injured that year actually.
my last image of the Miami Dolphins back in the day, the back in the 90s, for me, was the Dan Marino game with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where
Oof,
the Dolphins got destroyed. And
63-7. That was bad.
I was that game still lives in my head because I was excited. I was like, yes, we got a chance here. And I know, and we had Dan Marino, and Dan Marino was a great quarterback. But unfortunately, it's
But
not
look,
all up
but at the end of the day, we gotta be optimistic, right? I mean, we got a
all
great
day.
quarterback. We got a good team right now. Past 4 years has been pretty consistent. We just gotta
You
continue
need a
on. We need to
you.
continue on with this run that we have going on.
I've always said this, and it applies to any sport. In order for you to be successful, you need to have a successful coach. You have to have a good coach. Your team is gonna make it as far as your coach takes you. So that's why when people say, "Hey, is it on Mike McDaniel and all that stuff?" Of course, you put some blame on him. Absolutely, but he's also not the guy on the field either. So that's why I can't. That's why when Sean was saying that you blame everybody, including the people who were selling the hot dogs, of course, that's the right. That's my mentality. That's the way I look at it. I exactly think that way. You blame everybody who's dropped the ball. Let's keep it real. But it is what it is. I think we've been talking too much about Tua and Dolphins. I'm getting a headache here. That loss was on Tua too. The Jacksonville one. I mean, I don't think Tua was even born back then. See, Sean,
Hey,
that's why that Sean,
I love
Sean,
it. I'll be
Sean
back.
thinks I'm, Sean thinks I'm a big hater. That's the problem. Sean, I'm not a hater, bro. I love the Dolphins. I am a Dolphin fan. There's a reason why I go to all the games when I can, and that's the reason why we've been season ticket holders for so long, because we bleed aqua and orange at the end of the day. There's
Sir, but
nothing about.
enough about Tua, enough about Dolphins.
Oh,
You already know what time it is.
it's time to talk about the other team that keeps choking, and that is the
Yeah.
Miami Heat, right? The team that obviously we're out there. We have so much high expectations on the Miami Heat, and then what happens? Our boy Jimmy Butler and the Heat let us down. And then, hey, Nick, talk to me, bro. I know you saw the tweets out there from your boy Tyler Hero saying he ain't nowhere near coming back, sir. Nowhere near. Don't even look at him. Did you see that? The tweets. So he went on Twitter or X and he was responding to, I think it was Heat Nation or Heat Nation fans or something like that. And then they basically said he went on and they were saying, because Duncan Robinson is getting better. They're saying that Duncan Robinson might be back like in the next week or two. And then obviously we have no idea what's the status on Tyler Hero. And then Tyler Hero uh, responded on Twitter or on X and said, hey, um, yeah, I'm shooting around, but I'm nowhere near coming back. My timetable is like nowhere near. So he's out there like responding to people and all that stuff. So everybody who keeps talking about, hey, Jimmy Butler and all this stuff, I think we need to put all of our energy on Tyler Hero and how badly this guy at the end of the day has not been what we all thought he was gonna bring to the Heat. Guy can't stay healthy, bro. At the end of the day, that draft pick, man, it's costing us. We made a mistake
Well,
picking Tyler Hero.
the extension hurt us, not the draft pick, because he produced when in his rookie contract, but his extensions was killing us right now.
Sir Tyler Hero. So wow, you know what? Now I wanna look at something, because now that we're talking about Tyler Hero, right?
And it
All right.
sucks because he's only played like 45 games this year. He's only
He,
played like
of course, I mean, come on, man. It's amazing that a 24-year-old keeps getting injured as much as this kid does. And I want to see something. So check this out, guys. So this is what I'm looking. Tyler Hero got drafted in 2019, right?
yeah.
The Miami Heat picked Tyler Hero with the number 13 pick, right?
Mhm.
So who is who did the Miami Heat drop the ball? Like who was out there that they could have picked instead of Tyler Hero and has panned out at the end of the day? Because
I'm not quite sure.
and I'm looking. So I'm gonna share my screen that way you can see it. Because oh my god, this damn what call it? This goddamn like propaganda keeps popping up. But I'm gonna do this, guys. So let me share my screen here. There you go. There's the magic right there. All right. So let's see. Can you see the screen, guys? Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. So check out the screen, guys. And we're looking at it now, right? And you got Tyler Hero. The Celtics drafted Romeo Langford. I don't know if he's panned out. I don't think any of these guys have kind of panned out. To be real honest with you, right? Like
Grant
Brandon.
Williams.
Grant Williams is not bad. Uh Dylan Windler. You know what? At the end of the day, Nick, looking at this, because I'm look. Oh, okay. Jordan Poole. He hasn't been that bad.
Keldon
Uh,
Johnson, Kevin Porter Jr.,
there really hasn't been anybody at the Miami he could have picked. And then
Clemson.
let's look at the second round. Let's see. Was there anybody in the second round that has panned out? Bruno Fernando, Cody Martin. Not really, right? Damn, this draft kind of was weak. This 2019 class was not
Who
the
were
best.
the top 10?
The top 10, Zion, and you know how he panned out. He's been a bust too, because he can't stay healthy. John Morant, He's been a bust with all his crazy ass gun situation that he had a couple
Not
times,
only that,
and
I mean, he went through he unfortunately went through injury as well.
yeah. Um, RJ Barrett. I mean, he's been decent, but
He's been
nah.
good.
Darius Garland. Darius Garland is decent. Darius Garland is good. He's probably Kobe
Look,
White.
what,
Kobe White kind of like he's been up and down.
point is,
There
we
hasn't been
need
anybody good. This is a weak
we need
class.
hero. We need hero now, and like you said, the consistency has been the injuries, and that knee injury did not look like he was gonna come back anytime soon. It looked very very scary. Um,
He needs to do something, man. I think
but
he needs
now, mhm.
he needs to get like better trainers or whoever is his personal trainer. He needs to hire somebody to like bulk him up and make him stronger because dude, it's just one thing after the
There was
other.
a question. There was a question I saw on X. Is the Heat culture a culture that's deteriorating the players?
Okay, so let's talk about this. I like this. I like this one, sir. We know how the Miami Heat culture life is. Is that consistent grind. Yo, we gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep pushing. Defense. That and it's been going on for years. Pat Riley. When we had this guy, Stan Van Gundy, when we had now Eric Spoelstra, all the coaches that we had, that's always been the Heat culture: grind, grind, grind. And let's keep it real, Nick. At the end of the day, the NBA has gotten soft over the years. They're not like back in the day when these guys used to play like savages. But if you want my opinion, is the Miami Heat culture too much for some of these players? No, I'm gonna say no. And the reason I say no is because you got to separate the men from the boys. And I think you still get production from some of the Bam Adebayo does pretty good. I mean, back in the day, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, even the old school, even other guys like back in the day, like Dan Marley, Rashawn Leonard, um, one of our favorites, the Haitian guy. What was the Haitian guy, Nick? Remember?
James
Uh,
Posey.
James Boozy.
James
Yes,
Posey.
James Boozy. They all made it. I mean, they were all in the Heat culture, and the Heat
Shaq.
always shook it. Well, what we got the old Shaq, but yes, he still was able to push through. They were always able to deliver. I feel like the ones who have been weak out there have been the players, and not all of them, but mostly like freaking Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is the exception because he's so young. He's 24. He's not durable. He's too weak. He gets
I
you
think
know
Jaime Jaquez has played more games than Tyler Hero this year.
it's you know, and of course, but keep in mind, man. Like you said, well, let me ask you that question: do you feel the Miami Heat culture is grinding on these guys? Is it affecting the players that we have?
I don't know. I agree with you. I don't really think so. It's just there's specific players that, you know, battle it out and kind of become better players in the long run. And so it just sucks that, all Florida teams are getting hit with like injuries at the end of crucial moments of the season. Hopefully now coming up with the playoffs, we got 10 games left, man. And we're looking at 39-33, I believe. I don't
Where are we in the standings right now? Are
We're in
we
seventh.
all right? So and in order for us to get the hell out of the
We
freaking,
got to be in six, which we're a game and a half behind the Pacers.
can you believe that, man? That but see, this is the crazy thing because I went to the Cleveland Cavaliers game on
Sunday.
Sunday, and we blew the crap out of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers are in third place, and we are still in seventh. Like if I
That's
look
the
at the
thing.
if I look at
We just play horrible, but not horrible. We play poorly at home. If you notice, our record at home is like 18-17, and then away is like 21-15.
would you really?
Yeah, we're not playing well this year at home, which is not good because in the playoffs, you would want to play well at home, So that's kind of I get it though. It's
So
the
they got it.
playoffs.
Okay, hold on. I got it here. The Miami Heat on the road are 21-16. But at home, they're 18 and 17. They have a better record on the road than at home. That's a very good point. And you got to remember one thing. Back in the day, when I was I'm always been a Miami Heat fan. The Heat had always had that identity of the Road Warriors. That was what they were called back in the day because they would
Oh, I
always
didn't
go on
know that.
the yeah. The Heat used to be called the Road Warriors because they would always go out there and duke it out on the road. And you had like badasses like Dan Marley and all that stuff. Like Vashawn Leonard was another one of my favorite ones from the PJ Brown. Those guys were like just legit when they were, on the Heat team. And it looks like we might have to go back to calling them the Road Warriors. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, that road record is still not it's still it's better than the home. But if you look at it, there's only been and I'm looking at the teams that are in the right now in the playoffs, like from 1 to 10. The Miami Heat, when it comes to the road, you only have the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the New York Knicks that have a better road record than the Miami Heat. Miami Heat is up there. So it's just the issue with the
Where do
Miami
you
Heat.
where do you see? Can you pull up the standings and
Yeah, you want me to show it? I can show it for you
where do
guys.
you think we'll
Hold on.
finish? You think we'll at least be out of the play-in tournament, or do you feel we would be back in the play-in tournament?
I don't know. I found this website that's pretty cool. NBA.com, obviously, the standings. So here's the standings. Let me try to see if I could get this bigger. Okay, so let me know if you can see. Yeah, then I think you guys can see. All right, so check this out.
Zoom in
So,
just a tiny bit more because I can't really see.
well, you zoom in a little bit more. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, it's better.
All right, so let me go here. Okay, there you go. And I could zoom in a little bit more. Hold on, because we could screw the. Let me see if I could get it in a little bit more. That's a bit too much. Or screw it. No, there you go. That's better. So, Miami Heat are right here, number 7. Indiana Pacers are right here. So they're one game behind in the losing column. And you said they only got 10 games left, right? They,
Well, the Heat have 10 games left. I don't know about everybody else.
look at their record the last 10 games. They're 4-6. Who is in whatchamacallit? Who are the remaining 10 games? Who do they have left?
I know we play Toronto twice. We play Washington. We play the 76ers, the Trailblazers. I believe we play. I think the Bucks one more time,
All right, let me see. Let me take a look.
and
I'm
that's
gonna
it.
why are you looking? Okay, so we got the Trailblazers on Friday. We got the Washington. Is it the Washington Wizards? Yeah, the Washington Wizards on Sunday. We got the Knicks, the 76ers, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Hawks, the Mavericks, and then we got back-to-back games with the Raptors at the end. So we should win those Raptor games. We should, but knowing the Miami Heat now, we really
And the
don't
Heat
know.
are gonna win one game that's super random against one of the good teams that we playing on right now.
All right, so let's do this. The Heat should beat the Trailblazers. Plus, they're playing at home, so they should beat the Trailblazers, in my opinion. Maybe, but the Trailblazers have actually not been so bad this year. Actually, let me look at. I'm gonna do something right here. Hold on a second. Let me go here. Let me look at where the Trailblazers are when it comes to the West. Let me see. Let's go down. So the Trailblazers. Why is this going so slow? Okay, there we go. The Trailblazers are, yeah, see, look, the Trailblazers are 14th, and they're pretty much out of the playoff mix. So they
Hmm.
should beat the Blazers. Should keep that in mind. That's the term. All right, so you got that. So you got the Blazer, the Toronto, the Trailblazers. Sorry, you got the Washington Wizards. The Wizards, right now are number 14, so they're not. That should be a Heat win as well, technically, hopefully. You got the Knicks are going to be competitive. 76ers going to be competitive. The Rockets are trash. The Pacers are going to be competitive. The Hawks are
The Rockets, nah, bro. The Rockets are playing pretty good basketball right now, bro.
are they? Let me look at the
I think
standings
so.
again. Let me just go down. The Rockets right now are number on the West. They are number 11. So you're right. They're
They
in a
they
dogfight.
actually they actually have won 9 straight games in a row or some shit like that.
They're 9-1. the last 10 games. You're absolutely right, sir. So that's going to be a tough game because they're trying to find a way into the playoff into the playing game. So yeah, you're right. That will probably be a game that it's going to be a dogfight for the Miami Heat. I I don't want to keep going on with this. I think personally, I think the Miami Heat find a way to get into the sixth spot. I think we find a way to get in there. What about you? What do you think? You think we make it into the top six?
I think we're gonna stay either at 7 or 8.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you really don't have any confidence on the Miami Heat, don't you?
Um,
Shit.
just keep, as long as we're in the playing tournament and everyone comes back healthy, we should be fine.
I really, really hope the Miami Heat figure out a way not to be in that playing tournament. Like if they're not in that playoff tournament, that'll be a way for us to make it out of there. All right, but that's enough talking about the Miami Heat. We'll see how they do. Hopefully, against the next couple of games, we'll keep tabs on them, and we'll definitely go ahead and obviously let you guys know. And then obviously we got the playoffs right on the corner, so we'll see. But the last two things we wanted to talk about, obviously, I'm gonna have to create a new back logo. Sorry, I don't have that ready, but it is baseball season, sir. The Miami Marlins are back. They are finally opening up. Game opening day is tomorrow. I think it's
Tomorrow, yeah, against the Pirates.
and
We
if
should
you
go.
got and if you guys want to go see the Miami Marlins, third tickets only cost $8. What a bargain! You
And
want
there's a great and there's a great deal which is like $52. You get like a whole bunch of food and beverages, and the ticket is included.
well, for you guys that don't follow the Marlins, a lot of people don't follow the Marlins, but they have an amazing sandwich. It's like you seen that big ass sandwich? It's like a I think it's like a Cuban or something. It's like bro, it's like 12 inches. I don't know how. It's a really big freaking sandwich. It's supposed to feed like 30 people. I think is what I saw,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like a
like
medianoche type shit.
yeah, it's like a really it's like kind of like yeah, it's supposed to feed multiple people, and it's really good. Um,
Not lechon, right? Is it lechon?
I think it might be lechon. I haven't been to the Marlins game. I mean, shout out to the Marlins. Look, guys, I'm not. I'm a Marlins fan. I used to DJ for the Marlins, so I'm always gonna have respect for the Marlins. I think the Marlins are always gonna be one of my favorite teams. I hope that they do well. I don't know the extent of what to expect about the Marlins.
They
You
got a
know,
great prospect from the Yankees today.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, they did pretty
I'll tell you
well.
right now.
And then last year, while you're looking at that up, the Marlins, they had a winning record last year, and they were able to make it to playoffs. So, um, expectations are high on them, in my opinion. At least I would expect. I mean, my overall look at the Marlins is they should at least have a winning record. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs again, but at least they should have a winning record because the Marlins at the end did prove to us that you know, they were hanging in there.
They picked up John Cruz from the Yankees.
Alrighty. I don't know too much about John Cruz. What is his stats? Do you know? Does it say what his stats are?
Um, Batting average of a .294.
Okay. Almost 300. It's not bad. What
He's a
position does he play?
prospect, so
What
outfield.
position? Okay. I mean, I'll tell you this, Nick. I'll be tuning in a little bit more to the Marlins and checking them out. I know a lot of us are not Marlins fans. I know. And it sucks, man, because the Marlins, they have
I'm a
potential to be a
Marlins
good
fan.
team.
What the hell?
I mean, I like the Marlins. They're not bad. I wish I wish they would find a way to gain again the fans into the Marlins. I think it's the problem is it's been so many years of them just being so bad that people don't like baseball, and when the Marlins were legit and the Marlins made it to the World Series and won and all that stuff, it was beautiful because you had fans. There's fans out here, bro, that watch baseball, man. No, baseball is not the most entertaining.
hundred
Just
percent, bro.
and the crazy thing about baseball, man, and again, we might lose some viewers because people don't like baseball too much, but what I love about baseball is the fact that they have a way to relate it to different countries. So when we went, when we had the Colombian jersey and all that stuff, like you don't see that with the Dolphins. You don't see that with the Miami Heat. I mean, they'll say, "Hey, Colombian heritage" and stuff like that, but Marlins have do go the extra mile for the fans, and you could get like a jersey and stuff like that, all that type of stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, man, I think especially here in Miami, considering that we have a lot of different cultures, a lot of different countries, a lot of people from different South American countries,
Yeah,
and
we're
especially
a
America.
very diverse city.
But we'll see what happens with the Marlins. We'll keep tabs. We'll talk about the Marlins. I'll definitely make sure we have a quick new backdrop when it comes to the Marlins. I have to put the soccer because that's what we're going to talk about next. Um,
Well, let me throw you in. I don't know if you heard, but there's a new rule in baseball where the catcher on the base can be in front of the plate, can block the plate. You know how in home plate they really can't. They have to kind of like not cover it. It's the same applies to every other plate now.
Also, when let somebody's running into home plate, he can't stand in front of the plate.
So like let's say he's sliding and his hands and then the shoes in front of the plate and the guy touches the shoe first, then the plate, he can't do that.
Oh, that should be interesting.
But it apply is the same thing with home plate. he
Okay.
can't cover it, but he can be around it.
I mean, I will say this compared. I think it was last year or the year before where they actually sped up, like they put the pitching clock and all that stuff. I think it was like 2 years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago.
Last year, I
Um,
believe.
or was it last year? It could have been either last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember. But I will say this: the last time I went to a Marlins game, the game did go quicker. So that
Yeah,
I
like
like.
2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 30
Yeah,
minutes.
because sometimes it was just way too long. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how the Marlins do. We'll keep tabs on them. Same thing goes with the Panthers. I know the Panthers are having a rough time right now. They had a tough loss last night, bro. Damn it. I was watching that game and I was like, damn, the damn Panthers just they're having a little bad of a stretch right now. So um, hopefully they're able to turn it around. And the last thing, when it comes to baseball, Nick, I don't know if you saw, but this whole controversy with Otami, and his, the guy who was
Gambling, baby,
his
gambling.
translator was saying all this stuff about, hey, he was doing all these side bets and all that stuff. And you know, what do you think about that? How's that gonna hurt the MLB? Because remember, Otami is the best freaking player right now in MLB. Is this gonna be?
He's the
eh,
best player because the odds are on him.
I mean, and no, and he just moved to the Dodgers, so the Dodgers are a legit team. And then all of a sudden, you have this controversy. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they leaked this on purpose because it is bringing fans to like talk about it. Like this is some crazy stuff. But I mean, he had to fire his interpreter, and now he has, I guess, somebody new. But
Man,
uh,
every sport has its cheating scandal. This is just another article, bro.
that's true because I don't know who it was, but they were talking about it in I think it was on the Toronto Raptors. I think it was the player from the Toronto Raptors where he was like shedding points. He was like, and I saw it on ESPN that day. He was like, there was days when he was shooting threes, and then when he had made bets, he was like not making any type of attempts to shoot threes.
Look at that.
Yeah, and you know how in the Hard Rock app you could bet, oh, how many,
Under or
uh,
over on the threes.
yeah, how many, yeah. So you could. It's gambling is so addicting. It's ridiculous, and it just sucks, man. But I know we're going a little bit long. Let's finalize our topic. Of course, our most intriguing topic this week is of course soccer, and of course, sir, nothing like two back-to-back victories by our country, Colombia. Yesterday, I was having debates with some of my friends because they said I'm an Argentinian hater and that I just don't like Argentina. And I will say this: I am not an Argentinian fan. I am from Colombia, but I'm not a hater. I respect Argentina, but I do tune into all the games. So me and my brother are big fans of soccer. So Nick, talk to me. Anything that stand out last night when it came to the games that we saw? Because Chile lost against France, Costa Rica lost 3-1 to Argentina, Colombia beat Romania 3-2. It got kind of shaky at the end of the game. Um, You had also the United States on Sunday duking it out with the Mexican people, bro. Did you see that crap? That shit was ridiculous. The way these guys were like duking it out, bro. It was intense. Talk to me,
So,
sir. Anything that stands out to you?
um, what stands out to me is we saw two teams in Spain and Brazil who, mind you, Colombia beat both of them.
Mm,
They
crazy.
went at it. It was a dogfight, and those are. It just shows you that the caliber of how great those two countries are, and for Colombia to pull through the win on both of them, it just adds on more to the narrative that Colombia is looking stronger and stronger as the Copa America is coming
Ooh.
into play. Um, I really do feel that I'm very focused on South American countries right now. Um, like Uruguay losing to Ivory Coast, that was something that caught my attention. Even though a lot of the players weren't there, it
I
still
saw that.
it just tells you that the depth that Uruguay has may not be as talented as we think. Brazil's up and down, but it's showing that they still a good quality team. Chile with their new coach Gareca, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Chile looks like they're trying to find their identity, like how Colombia was trying to find their identity. And then finally, Argentina, the champion, they still look good. Obviously, our boy Inter Miami, Messi, wasn't in the game due to injury, but we all know that he's gonna try his best to go to the Copa America. But overall, Colombia looks really strong. Colombia hasn't lost in 20 games in the past 2 years. Last game, uh, actually, Nestor Lorenzo took over under Colombia if I'm not mistaken, in March of 2022, and so from there he hasn't really he's coached 18 games, and we've pretty much have won, if I'm not mistaken, 12 of them, and tied three of them. And so, or I'm sorry, it's 15. I think it's 13 or 14 wins, somewhere around there. Point is, we're undefeated right now in 18 to 20 games overall in 2 years. And right now, the record for Colombia to be unbeaten was 27, made back in the early 90s when it was the considered the golden era of Colombia. So Colombia has enough games left to actually break that record. And honestly, the game to break the record of 27 would probably be into the Copa America tournament. And so hopefully we continue this run. I'm very very happy what's going on with Colombia. Um and just the coaching, man, and you and I, we've been talking about this for so many years now. Uh Colombia is a talented country. And you need, like how the Dolphins are, a great coaching staff to have great talent work for you. And so Nestor Lorenzo came in, and he has made a big, big factor. He's made the necessary changes. He's made the necessary call ups. He's made the necessary adjustments. This team, I've never had this team adjust so much and so well after either being down in the first half or having to be dominated in the first half or maybe even be dominated in the second half. It's just been adjustment after adjustment. And I'm really liking what Lorenzo's doing. All the players are playing really well right now with Luis Diaz. He's our workforce. And then our boy James, he's actually elevated his game ever since he went back to Sao Paulo in Brazil. They've kind of helped his conditioning. And so he's taking the game a lot more serious. You can see it. And then finally, this is where I would want to ask you, how do you feel about John Cordoba and Casierra as maybe the number nines to replace the people that we've used before in Duvan Zapata, Boborre, Borja, these players that we've been using so long, and
Falcao.
Falcao, and so what are your thoughts?
All right, so when it comes to Colombia, man, I called it when I told you, Nick. I was like, I feel like Colombia's gonna make it to the World Cup, and obviously, it's a lot easier to make it this next World Cup because they expanded. But I said Colombia could make some noise in this Copa America, and this is one of the reasons why I'm excited. And I said that Colombia didn't make it to the last World Cup because of the simple fact that we didn't have a coach. Our coach sucked. I'm being honest with you. That Colombian coach was not good, and unfortunately, What tends to happen, and I'm very transparent. The fact of the matter is, when we have a Colombian coach, and it's not only in Colombia, it happens in a lot of other countries. You have favorites. You have guys that you particularly want to keep on the team, and you only want to play this guy. You only want to play that guy, and that's the problem that happened when we had, what was it, Rueda?
Yeah,
Rueda was right when we
Reinaldo
had
Rueda.
Reinaldo Rueda. When we had Reinaldo Rueda, their coach, Nestor Lorenzo, hands down, is from that Peckerman type of regime. He was an assistant coach with him. Um, man, guy is amazing. Guy has done everything, and I like the fact that he brought in Casierra, he brought in John Cordoba, and he's looking at these players and making the necessary. Hey, let me try this guy. Let me try that guy. And the only thing that scares me with Nestor Lorenzo, our coach, is the fact that he's still a little bit like in love with Mateus Uribe, and because Mateus was hurt, is the reason why he didn't bring him on the squad. But I think hopefully Richard Rios, which is the guy who actually replaced him in this game, um, showed him enough to let him know, hey, I got to put this kid in front of him, because I thought Richard Rios did a phenomenal job on the squad. And of course, James, the return of James is really really strong. I think Colombia has enough firepower. They have enough firepower as long as what I told you, as long as Luis Diaz is on the team and he's healthy, we have the pot. We could win a cup. Easy. We could win the Copa America. I have no doubt about it. If Lucho gets hurt, that's a concern because we rely heavily on him. Not so much in scoring, but he is the one who pushes the offense to like score, and that's my only concern that we're relying heavily. And I've always said this when it comes to like Messi. Argentina relies heavily on Messi because Messi is their best player. Teams tend to rely heavy on their best player, and that their best player makes the other players better. So watching Argentina play against Costa Rica, and the reason I watched that game too is because Costa Rica is the team that actually qualified in the Copa America, so they're now in our
Correct.
group. So now that we have to play them, all jokes aside, because I like to mess around with some of my friends who are Argentinian. I was impressed with Argentina. I think they did a really, really good job. They were continuing pressing. They were doing really, and I know Costa Rica is not the best, but Costa Rica has an elite. I still think they have an elite goalkeeper. So I was impressed with the way that they were able to manage without having Messi on the team. Will they be able to do that against probably better offensive teams? I think they're vulnerable. I think Argentina is very vulnerable. Like if they got to go against a Brazil or against a Uruguay or against a Colombia without Messi. I feel like the missing piece for Argentina will always be Messi until they find that next guy who's able to, elevate it as well as good as Messi. And that's the thing with Colombia. I think Colombia, as long as we have Luis Diaz, will be fine. But anything that goes after Luis Diaz, it's something happens to him, that's when I'll start being a little bit scared.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. They push the ball through him a lot. Obviously the person who kind of gets the first touches is obviously James because they like to play the traditional 10. But this formation that they've been playing lately on the 4-2-3-1, it's been working out for them. And I think the missing piece is their number 9. As long as the number 9 is critical and has good playing field positioning, being at the right place at the right time, or having great dual threat like Cordoba with a crazy header, hey man, we can work this out. I felt like Cordoba is a more polished Duvan Zapata. Duvan Zapata was very stiff at times. And I feel like with Cordoba, he's a lot more polished, a lot more edgy, and a little bit more aggressive with the ball. And I think he can move the play a lot more. And Casierra, unfortunately, we didn't see much of him. We saw him in the first half, more like 60 minutes in the first game against Spain. But I think the number 9 spot is going to be huge. As long as we can grab that number 9 and really push through with our offense, I think we're pretty good, bro. Because the center back's looking nice with Carlos Cuesta and Lukumi, and then Daniel Munoz and either Mojica, and we're kind of blessed right now with left backs because at one point we had a hard time finding left backs, but now we have left backs. We have the Borja kid that plays in Belgium. We have Mojica that plays in La Liga, and then we have Davier Machado that plays in France. And so we have linebackers now that we could feel like, hey, we have some depth. Now,
Yeah.
I'll let you share more of how you feel, but I got a really good question for you, sir. But you can finish.
Well, we kind of see same eye to eye when it comes to Colombia, but I do want to kind of like I know you're gonna ask my question. I do want to go ahead and kind of like spread the whole the whole wealth, because soccer is not only, obviously we're gonna rely heavily on Colombia because obviously we're Colombian, but we got to give kudos where kudos is deserved. So obviously Argentina won 3-1. Peru, they won 4-1 against Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic doesn't have a really good team, so it is what it is. A powerhouse. Shout out to Cuba out there. I didn't even know Cuba had a soccer team, but Cuba did win. Cuba beat Nicaragua
Let's
one
go.
zero. So shout out to Cuba.
Shout
Cuba
out to
won.
Cuba, baby.
Um, as you mentioned earlier in the stream, Brazil and Spain, they were in a dogfight 3-3. Chile and France. France was able to beat Chile at the last minute. They scored. I think it was Giroud who scored the game-winning goal, and it ended up being 3-2. Sir, you know Germany beating the Netherlands. And again, I didn't get to catch the game. I don't know what their starters look like if they were having the whole complete team, but 2-1 Germany over the Netherlands. And Belgium and England tied 2-2. So that is, and England had their squad. So that's why I'm like, interesting that happened. You mentioned Ivory Coast surprising Uruguay, and yes, Uruguay didn't have their full squad, but still, you want to kind of get that, idea of what to expect from Uruguay whenever their guys go down. So that might be something that we could eventually kind of look at and be like, oh, well, here's gonna, it doesn't look good. And then on Sunday, the United States beating Mexico, winning that what was it? I think that CONCACAF Cup.
Yeah.
So that wasn't bad. I think overall, man, we're gonna get a really good Copa America. And Josh, shout out to Josh, tuning in for our soccer segment here. Who will win La Copa America? And Nick, before we answer that question, what question did you want to ask me, or at least want to ask the public who's watching us and tuning in about our soccer segment here?
All right. Who do you think? What group does Colombia play if they advance to the knockout stages? Who do you think Colombia? What the group they have to play against?
You okay? Well, let me get this straight. So who do you? So are you asking me who's winning? Who's gonna
No, no. Who's
come out of that
if
group?
if Colombia moves on to the knockout stage, hypothetically, who do you think the group is that they have to face?
Well, let me pull it up because I don't have the actual okay, so Group A. Well, let me share it with you guys because, of course, and it's a good question because obviously Josh asked us a question about who we think is gonna win the Copa America. So let's share this with you guys. That way, you guys can see who we got going on here. So hold on a second. Let me pull this up. All right, there you go. So, and let me zoom in a little bit. That way, you guys can see as well. Because let's see. There you go. All right. So, Group A is Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Canada. Group B is Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Group C is United States, Uruguay, Panama, and Bolivia. And of course, Group D, which is obviously the most intriguing group in my opinion. Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and Costa Rica. I honestly feel, Nick, to be honest with you, that our group is probably the best group out there. I think I know Costa Rica is not the best, but I think Costa Rica still could be a sleeper. I don't know. Who do we if we're Group D? I'm assuming Group A.
Group C, sir.
Okay, so that means if Colombia wins the group, we play the number 2 in Group C, right? Is that what?
Correct.
So that would mean, all right. So let's look at Group C: USA, Uruguay, Panama, and Bolivia. Panama's not gonna make it out of this group. Bolivia has a slight chance, but let's keep it real. It's probably gonna be United States and Uruguay duking it out for that first number 1 spot. I'm gonna be real honest with you, man. I don't see the United States winning this group. I think Uruguay's gonna win this group, bro. So that would mean um, Colombia versus if Colombia. So now we got to look at our group. I do feel Colombia will be one of the 2 top teams, depending on who's gonna win. And I personally, there's something in me is telling me I think we're gonna win this group, man. Brazil just doesn't look like the Brazil of like old. I think they're still trying to find themselves. So if Colombia wins their group, they would have to play the second place in Group C, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would mean Colombia versus the United States in the next round. So Colombia versus the United States is what I have, sir. Is that what you also assume is gonna happen? Oh man, that's good and bad. You know why, man? Because the game is being played here in the United States. So um that's a
Interesting,
powerhouse.
right?
That's a powerhouse game. And then keep in mind the last friendly that
Uh-huh. That's where I was going.
the last the last the last friendly. Oh, and Ecuador, of course, Josh. How can I forget Ecuador in the building, baby? Hell yeah. Um, to be honest with you, hold on a second. Where is Ecuador? Ecuador is in that group B. All
Ecuador
right.
is winning that group.
So let's say Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Um, I think personally Ecuador is better than Mexico. So Ecuador, I think, wins that group. But watch out for Venezuela. Watch out for Venezuela, bro. I say,
They're
all right.
hungry,
So
bro. They're
what
hungry.
happened?
They're
Who's on?
hungry.
Oh. I thought you were saying you're hungry. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm hungry too now. We've been
Nah,
going. We
to
got.
be
We got.
honest, to be honest with you, bro, we can go on with an extra 30 minutes for this, but I honestly feel if Mexico no se pone las pilas, I think Venezuela and Ecuador can come out winning out of that
Nick, I'm
group, bro.
telling you, bro. Ecuador. I have. Okay, so this is what I have, man. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're ready. We're talking about this. Group A: Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Canada. Who do you have number 1 and 2 on that group?
I to be honest with you, with the way Chile's playing with Gareca, and they're just gonna get better. I see
Tough.
Chile winning, being in second place, and Argentina winning the first. Just
Okay.
because just because look at the competition Chile had to go against in friendlies. They're going against some pretty top tier teams while Peru's playing Dominican Republic and weaker teams in the friendlies. And you don't need that. You need countries to make sure that you can keep up with that. And I think that's crucial. So 100% I think Chile and Argentina will come out of those two.
Okay. I'm gonna look at it this way. I think the least team to advance in that group is Peru. Nah, I don't think
Watch out, because Peru will be random sometimes, bro.
they are random, but I think, to be honest with you, I think out of all of them, Peru is the one that I feel like maybe might be the one, the odd team out. It's gonna be a dogfight between those three other teams: Argentina, Chile, and Canada. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't know about something in me is telling me that Canada's gonna come and play, and I have Canada coming out of that group. I say Canada makes it out of the group, and it's gonna be between Argentina and Chile. But I think at the end of the day, Argentina has enough. They're gonna win that group. So I say Argentina wins the group, and Canada comes in second. That's my pick for that group A. Talk to me about Group B. We were just talking about it. Who do you think comes number 1, and who do you think comes number 2?
Based off on what, how it is, I still feel like Mexico still has enough firepower to finish second, and Ecuador wins that group. I think Ecuador is the strongest group and the strongest country in that group.
I'm gonna go with you when it comes to Ecuador. I think Ecuador does win the group. I think Ecuador is still it's better. It's the best team in that group. I am gonna go and say in an upset. I say Venezuela makes it into second place. I think Mexico gets eliminated in that group stage. To be honest with you, Group C. Obviously, Bolivia. I'll go and do first. Bolivia, Panama. I don't see Bolivia and Panama making it out. I think it's obviously going to be USA and Uruguay. I think Uruguay is going to win the group, and I think the United States will come in second place.
United States are gonna win that group, sir. It's in the USA. They're gonna play with pride. The United States are gonna win that group, sir.
You
The United States won.
you believe
I
in Greg
believe.
Berhalter?
I believe that we will win. I
You
believe that we will
you
win.
be,
I
you
believe that we
believe
will win.
you're believing Greg Berhalter is gonna?
100%.
Oh my God! You do remember that they in the semifinal they went against Jamaica, and they needed to score in the 92nd minute in order for them to actually make it to the final. You do know that, right?
Sir, and what happened? They won, so it was great practice because they need it. They're gonna win
Great,
this group,
great,
baby.
great practice. I mean, dude, they almost got eliminated by Jamaica. No, I say they have enough to beat Panama and Bolivia. They're not beating Uruguay. Uruguay takes that group, but we could believe. I believe that we will win, right? Of course, our group. This I'll go first. This is the group of death right here, bro.
Yeah,
To be
this is the
honest.
group of death.
That Costa Rica's on this team. This is the group of death. Costa Rica, I think, is the odd team out. That doesn't mean it's going to be a cakewalk, but I think it's going to be the odd team out because they're going to have Keller Navas, and Navas is a really good goaltender, a really good goalkeeper. Something in me is telling me that Colombia is going to win this group, so I have Colombia winning this group. Now Brazil, Paraguay, and Costa Rica. I think Brazil still has enough firepower, and Brazil will come second. So I say Colombia wins the group, and Brazil comes in second.
I say Brazil still finds a way to win the group, and Colombia finishes in second.
Okay, so if that was it, man, I wish I had a. Okay, let's do this.
Just because it's not when we beat Brazil at home. And I get home is home. We're playing in the States, and I know sometimes Colombia plays pretty well in the States, but I have a feeling that Colombia will probably tie that game, and then um, Colombia will handle business for Paraguay, Costa Rica. But I have a feeling that Brazil's gonna win the group based off on goal differentials. I think Brazil's
Okay.
gonna manhandle the shit out of Costa Rica. No offense, but yeah.
Ooh, damn. Okay. Now, let's finish it off, right? Because at the end of the day, Josh asked us the question, who is going to win La Copa America? We'll start with you, Nick. Talk to me, brother. Who's going to win La Copa America this year?
You're not gonna like my answer, but
Oh, Jesus.
if he's healthy and they're healthy and they're rolling and things roll for them, I wouldn't be surprised if Argentina wins it again, bro. They're still the favorites. I can't disregard that. So I say Argentina.
Wow, this guy going with the favorites, of course, Argentina. Um, let's hold on a second. Is this no? All right. So for me, I don't want to jinx it. God, please don't let this bite me, please. But I can't. I have to do it, bro. I'm sorry, Nick. I hope this doesn't screw us over. But something in me is telling me that Colombia's gonna win this. I have a feeling that they're gonna figure out a way to win this. I I I, I have the feeling that I gotta look and see how afterwards. This is what we'll do. I'll bring out a simulator that way we can see how the quarterfinals would be, the semifinals, and then the final. But I think Colombia has enough. I think Colombia has, as long as everybody stays healthy, the Colombia has enough, and I think Colombia can is gonna win the Copa America. This will be the first time in a long time. The last time Colombia won the Copa America was in 2001. I will say Colombia
Well,
figures it out.
if you look at it, if Colombia finishes either in first or in second in their group, they gotta face the 1 and 2 in D. I'm sorry, if they finish D 1 or 2, then they gotta face against the 1 and 2 in C, because the other side of the bracket, if Colombia finishes second, they face their opponent, and then let's say Brazil wins the group and Colombia does, they still got to face each other after in the quarterfinals. If you look at because the knockout stages already are out, so like it says here, all winner between 1C and 2D and 1D and 2C, which is the groups that we're pretty much binded for.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I wish I'm trying to find one.
Well,
I
we'll
wish I
find
would
a
have taken time.
simulator for it, but
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to do. I was
we'll
trying to
find a
find a
simulator
simulator.
for it. But I don't want to jinx it. I still I can't go against the ones who won the last Copa America, and so I have I have uh I have Argentina winning it. Now my dark horse. Do you want to know what my dark horse is, sir?
Who is your dark horse, sir? And please do not say the United States.
I believe I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I
Uh,
believe that we will win.
I think you're just busting people's balls. I think don't give us Americans
Sir,
the
you didn't see the bombazo Tyler Adams did on Mexico, bro? I can see that
sir
shit happening.
sir. It's against Mexico. It's against Mexico. For the love of God, I don't even have Mexico getting out of the group stage. I'm gonna say my powerhouse or like my sleeper team, right, is none other than Uruguay. I think Uruguay has enough. I think Uruguay can surprise people, and I think Uruguay. If Colombia doesn't win it, I say Uruguay will win it. I don't think Argentina's gonna win it. I don't think Brazil's gonna win it. I don't think the United States wins it. My two choices, my 1 and 2, will be Colombia number one and Uruguay number two. I think Uruguay has a very, very good shot. I know that they lost against Ivory Coast, but that wasn't their whole squad. And they just look like they're ready, man. Uruguay is a dog. They're not afraid of anybody, man. Uruguay is a powerhouse this year, and
I agree.
I like Uruguay a lot, man. And keep in mind, I'm not it wasn't back in, and I just pulled it up. World Cup qualifiers, November 16th, 2023. Uruguay beat Argentina 2-0, 2-0, brother. Argentina's a dog horse. I'm sorry, Uruguay's a dog horse. Watch out for Uruguay. I think they have a really good shot at winning this again. I know they and the two teams that have won the most Copa America, if I'm not mistaken, is Argentina and Uruguay. If I'm not mistaken, I think they have the longest
Uh,
ones.
I I think it's Uruguay and Brazil.
I don't. I thought it was. I might have been. I mean, we would have to. I would have to Google it, but I thought I read it that it was Uruguay and Argentina, but I could be
Wouldn't
wrong.
be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either. It's
Could
just
be
been
wrong.
them three.
We would have to look at Wikipedia and see if Wikipedia tells us who is the most. Hold on, let me see if I can look this up while we're doing this out. But yeah, those two teams are the ones that I
Yeah,
feel.
and the last friendly is for Colombia is against United States.
But I don't think the United, and you know what? I don't think Colombia is gonna bring their solid squad. They're gonna bring some up and coming kids to do it. I'm looking at the results here, and the team that has won the most Copa America has been Argentina with 15. Uruguay comes in second. Well, technically not. I wouldn't say second. They're tied for first. They actually have 15 as well. Oh, we lost Trapio. We lost Nick. And then and then for you guys to see, the last one that actually did, um, we lost your camera, Nick. But can you still hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
A little bit. No, you're good. You're good. At least we could still hear you. I could still hear you. Um, and then the third place team who's won the Copa America was Brazil. Brazil has 9. So Argentina with 15, Uruguay with 15, Brazil has 9, Paraguay has won 2 Copa Americas, Chile has won 2 Copa Americas, Peru has won 2. Wow, Peru has 2. Bolivia has 1, and Colombia has 1 as well. So um, that's pretty much what we got. But sir, we've been going at it for 2 hours. Jesus Christ, time flies, brother. I know we talked a lot about the Dolphins. We talked about a lot about the Copa America, and we were even able to talk a little bit about the Marlins. Today we're gonna skip the speak the unspoken section. We'll bring it back next week. That way we could release our anger and release what we have in mind. But sir, is there anything else you want to say to the fans? I know we lost your video, but we still got your audio. Is there anything else you want to say to the fans before we head on out, sir?
You know me, man. I like to throw in my quotes. And today's quote is by yours truly, Mike McDaniel. He said, if you want the narrative to change, you got to change the narrative." And so, I think that's a huge part of our lives. We tend to sometimes fall into place, and I know obstacles come in our lives, but if you want to make changes, you got to make sure that you really do make the changes, because saying is one thing, but actions is another. And so I just everyone has the enough strength to go ahead and overcome any obstacle that's in their way.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Is there any way, sir? Can you inform our fans and our listeners how can they find you in all social media, sir?
You can find this guy with the little circle and the bubble right here At that way Nick on Twitter. You can catch me on Detrapio with 3 O's on Twitch. Sometimes I be playing EA stream, EAFC, and so if anybody likes to play some EAFC, swing by, and that's pretty much it, brother.
Awesome, Brand. Thank you so much for the quote. You guys can reach me at Fresco Music _DJ on Twitch. On all social media platforms, you can reach me at Fresco Music. And guys, remember, we always like to have guests on our show. So if you guys want to come in, I know we haven't had a guest in a minute, but I'm gonna start making some phone calls again and having some people come through. We've been so tied up, me and my brother. You know, my brother's with his school and work, and then me with work and the DJ and all that stuff. It's just sometimes it's hard to reach out and get people to come on board. So, but I know people hit me up. And they're always hitting me up and they're like, Frankie, I want to be on board, but it's like crunch time sometimes. But I'm gonna work on that. We're definitely gonna work on that. We're definitely gonna bring more people as guests on our podcast. And I also again want to thank everybody, man. We had a very, very exciting chat group this week. We had everybody who tuned in. Josh, thank you so much. Stanley Media House, our boy Sean saying what's up. Chad, thank you so much. Steven, bro, thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming and showing some love. Let me see anybody else that I see here. No, I think we got pretty much everyone. Anybody else? Josh came through as well, so shout out to Josh as well. I think I already have mentioned Josh, but guys, thank you once again for tuning in. We will be back next week with our episode 21, where we will go ahead and continue having our debate about the Miami Dolphins and this whole, debacle. And everybody can go ahead and say that I'm a Tua hater. Nah, I'm just playing. But once again, bro, I want to thank all you guys. Thank you so much, man. And for you guys, it's always a pleasure. Nick, thank you, brother. Thank you,
bro.
I was happy to have you back. I felt a little bit weird last week. It was a little bit rough by myself last week, but we held it down. We held it down.
Special shout out to DJ Case. Happy birthday, brother.
Shout out to my boy Case. Absolutely, man. Last night we had too much fun last night. Let's just say that. But Case had more fun than I did. So shout out to everybody out there. For all of us here at Let Me Talk to You. We will see you next week. Let's go.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.